Well, for the first time since October the 18th, Home Park plays host to an Argyle match again. 6 weeks without a game here, but the Greens return home this afternoon. It's been a miserable couple of months, but it ended last weekend with a close run victory over Port Vale. Today, a chance to double up and to climb outside of the drop zone. A win against Northampton Town could see Tom Cleverley's side close the gap on the sides above them. So another crucial Sky Bet League One game on the horizon then, and all the build-up is coming your way right here on Argyle TV. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Erin Black and thank you for joining us here on Matchday Live. We are here live from Home Park in the studio. 6 weeks, as you well know, since Argyle last played here, but they finally got their home comforts back and will be doing so with the added boost of picking up that first win since September. And it wasn't the prettiest win, I think we all know that, but it did stop the rot of 6 defeats and it's brought a little bit of optimism back to us and of course to you, the fan base. So today they take on Northampton Town. It's a side just 4 points above them in the table with a chance to win back-to-back today and win back-to-back league games for just the second time this season. So plenty on the line then, and we've got lots coming up for you between now and the match itself over the next 25 minutes. So don't forget your match passes, both audio and video, are available over on the website. You want to head to pafc.co.uk for all of those details. And joining me in the studio is former Argyle defender Brian McGlinchey.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you, Brian?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
It feels like it's been a while since.
Yeah, it's too long, isn't it? What did you say, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
From bizarre fixture sort of.
Everyone's been saying that. I mean, we had Chris Errington in on the breakfast show, who of course travels to every single game to report on them, and he said, 2,000 odd miles I think he's clocked up over the last few weeks, but he, in all his 29 seasons of covering Argyle, cannot recall a time where the fixtures have been stacked like this.
It's probably worse for Argyle because the travelling they have to do, the amount of hours on a coach that they have to go through. So yeah, fair play to the fans as well for the costs coming up to Christmas as well. Well supported, so just testament to the Argyle fans again, really.
Yeah, and they've not had the best, run of games to watch either.
No, it's not been, pure relief last weekend getting the 3 points, and I think the key today is to build on that, and we don't want that to be a bit of a false dawn in a sense. We want to really sort of capitalise and take the game to Northampton today. Yeah,
I mean, you've been in that position as a player, doing maybe not that many away games on the bounce, but certainly doing a fair amount. How much do you think it will mean to those players to come back to Home Park today after such a long spell away?
Yeah, getting on a coach at a Friday morning or Friday afternoon, it's soul destroying sometimes. Probably worse coming back after defeat as well. So you're getting home at the sort of early hours of the morning. So they've done that for 3-4 weeks and they've not picked up great results. It can be quite it's tough, but that's they get paid. That's what they paid well to do this. Do you know what I mean? So, and playing football for Argyle is a privilege. So they should. But you're right. Waking up today and not travelling yesterday, and waking up in your own bed as well. Sleeping in hotel beds aren't great either. So, yeah, fingers crossed they can get. They've got a lot of games at home now as well, haven't they? So
I suppose the difficulty is, while maybe we're used to our home form being better than our away form, our home form so far, not necessarily helped by the fact we haven't had that many home games, but it's not been great, has it?
No, there's the last couple of home results haven't been great, to be honest. But the whole form, the whole sort of morale's been down, and confidence is a massive thing in football. If you're not at it and your confidence is low, you're off at that 5-10%, and that's the difference. There's small margins in these games, and hopefully a bit of confidence today. But from reading and some of the what Tom Cleverley's been saying, they want to come out and give real fast, 10-15 minutes against Northampton and put them under pressure and hopefully get an early goal and kick on from there. Yeah,
I think that's certainly what the fans would like to see. We know what Talai in particular is capable of, and I think the fans will be eager to see him get a goal here at Home Park after not having seen a goal here for so long because we haven't been playing.
Yeah, he's our main goal threat, isn't he? We need goals from around the team, especially some set pieces, things like that, no corners, that type of stuff. You need to score more goals from that sort of area. But yeah, he's a real threat. But I think getting the crowd going, really getting the atmosphere up, because it's a player's responsibility to do that for me. And if they can get the crowd going, this crowd will really sort of react to that
Yeah.
and keep them focused.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of chat in the week about a number of different players, whether they're back from injury, are they in contention. So let's have a little look at the Argyle side that we've got for you this afternoon. Lined up on your screen for you there: Connor Hazard, Cornell Suge, Matthias Ross, Alex Mitchell, Brendan Galloway, Law McCabe, Malachi Boateng, Matty Sorinola, Barley Mumba, Owen Dale and Laurent Talai. And on the bench, Ashby Hammond, Wirradu, Patterson, Edwards, Benarous, Oseni and Rawls. I think we are unchanged from Port Vale. So Tom Cleverley obviously looking at that, Brian, and wanting to stick with a side we know can win.
Yeah, well, you would think you would keep the same side after getting your first win in a while, a clean sheet as well. I think that's the two main benefits, the relief of getting the 3 points, but then the clean sheet, because we haven't been able to keep them for a long time, conceding goals right, left and centre, to be honest. But yeah, there's a good age group about the team, pretty experienced as well. You know, McCabe's probably the youngest player for Argyle's perspective, but no, yeah, real good experience around the side now. Settled back four, hopefully then can keep clean sheets. That's probably a key thing. But yeah, I'm not surprised. And he doesn't want to rush back some of those like Amici and stuff like that. No, hamstring injury. That's the one thing you don't want to do is rush players back, because it's going to be a busy Christmas period as well. And we want to sort of kick on. We need to have a really good second half part of the season. And this season can be resurrected. It can be turned around. Yeah. You need to pick up 2-3 good wins, and you have a good Christmas period. It gives you that confidence to get into the next part of the season, maybe with some additions as well, because it looks like we're going to be active in the transfer market from what I hear.
Yeah, Aaron was talking this morning about, you know, if you look at this season in terms of first third is gone. If we now class last week as the beginning of the second third of the season, starting that with a win, can you then capitalise on that with another win? And like you said, it's not rushing these injured players back to then put themselves in the same position.
No, exactly. We haven't got the squad to do that. We haven't got the fight. We need... Amici is probably a bit of a key star player for us, creative-wise, to score goals, and so we need him back, and we don't rush him. And I sort of, I think we'll hear Cleverley's interview after in a bit, and he does talk about not rushing him, and he's just maybe a bit off it still. Yeah. So and Plagothello as well. I think he's closer. Yeah. So he might be playing in the game midweek, isn't there? So might get some minutes there. But yeah, it's good for confidence as well. If you play well, you get the 3 points. You keep your shirt as well, so I think that sends a really good message across the squad as well. You play well and you get a clean sheet and you win. The managers goes to the same team. I sort of like that philosophy. Yeah. I think you got to earn that as well.
You keep mentioning the clean sheet as well as the win. Like, how important will that have been for Hazard? We saw him; he made some important saves last weekend in particular. So a bit more form being found.
Well, yeah, he's had a long period of himself, out injured, and he probably takes a little bit of time to get his sort of fluency and momentum type thing. But all those saves we're seeing there, they're pretty standard. You'd expect a goalkeeper to make them, but it's probably the ease he's making them look easy. Yeah. That's so straight out. You would expect him to make those saves. But you're right. I think any sort of promotion or any team that does well, the foundations are clean sheets, not conceding. Yeah. If you have to score 2-3 goals to win a game, it's difficult. Yeah. Really difficult.
It brings confidence at both ends of the pitch, doesn't it? We obviously have to hope that Northampton Town aren't the ones to put a goal past us this afternoon. They might have the services of a couple of returning players in their side, but they do also have a few crucial players out injured. This is how they line up this afternoon. Ross Fitzsimmons, Jack Burrows, Connor McCarthy, Dean Campbell, Tom Eves, Tyrese Forner, Jordan Thornley, Michael Forbes, Ethan Wheatley, Jack Perkins and Terry Taylor with the captain's armband there. They are also unchanged from their last fixture, Brian. So it's interesting. Two unchanged sides. They both know what they're going to want to be doing this afternoon, and I suppose for them, do you think they're looking at Argyle as a bit of an opportunity, despite coming down to us?
I would say they've come here with a bit of trepidation in the sense of Argyle will want to get the crowd up, and after a good result last week, they don't score many goals. They're the second lowest goal scorers in the league, which is it's not a great stat to have, to be honest. So maybe that will help us of not conceding today. But Wheatley's he's a decent player. He's on loan from Man United. They've got Tom Eves up front as well, experienced player, ex-Argyle player as well, Forna. So there's lots of, they're all decent players. I was looking at their stats, but they're quite a tall side as well.
Okay.
So thinking from like our set pieces wise, we've conceded a few goals from set pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got to be a bit vigilant on that. But yeah, they're not in great form. They're not a great side. Let's be honest. On our best day, we should be beating Northampton, to be honest. But we know of late football's been strange for us, and we haven't seen the real Plymouth Argyle yet this year.
It's interesting because you mentioned, some of their stats there. Not that they're in a particularly amazing position in the league, but then like you look at some of our stats and the fact that Talai is the top or joint top goal scorer in the league, and yet there we are, 23rd in the table. It's just like some of the figures don't compute with what we're seeing.
Well, that just proves it's a team game, doesn't it? We need everyone contributing. We need more goal scorers. Talai's been a really good signing, and they're not big goal scorers. Wheatley's not an out-and-out striker as such. He plays off the right, and he's a really good dribbler, and he sees a pass. So we're going to have to be really making sure that we don't get too frantic and we don't keep chasing the game and get that goal where we leave on the transition. We get caught out because he's definitely got the pace and strength and the dribbling attributes to go really hurt us. So they're a decent side. They'll work very hard. They'll be well coached by Nolan, to be honest. He's really experienced sort of coach now. He worked under David Moyes at West Ham for a long time, so he's sort of itching to probably prove his managerial sort of quality. So yeah, they'll be a tough. They'll be organised. Yep. But at home with the crowd behind us, the pitch looks absolutely beautiful. You'd expect that not played in for a long time. So. Fingers crossed for a good game.
Yeah, there it is. And the sun is shining as well, which is very nice. Of course, top scorer Hopkins is out injured. So, as Brian mentioned, Ethan Wheatley, probably one of the ones to keep an eye out for this afternoon. Let's now then hear from the coaches. We'll start with Tom Cleverley, who is understandably looking forward to performing at Home Park this afternoon.
We'll talk about Northampton a little bit. What sort of games do you maybe expect from them? How do you feel they've gone this year? Kevin Nolan's probably someone you know quite well from your playing days. Expect a Kevin Nolan style team?
Yeah, they're one of the more unpredictable teams, to be honest, and I don't say that in a sort of they're lacking consistency, but he managed more of an adaptable team, really well coached, sort of real threat with Wheatley, and last week they played with 2 strikers and a 10, and so real attacking numbers in the middle of the pitch. And I thought they were excellent against Cardiff, passed the ball through the lines really well, controlled the game with possession and created enough to win the game. So tad unlucky. Previous weeks they've been a bit more direct and exploited channels and played 3 different systems the last 3 games. So tough for me to try and predict what they'll be, so that's where all the focus has been on us this week.
Yeah, and I suppose on us, what are the absolute keys? What are the musts that we should see on Saturday?
Tempo and intensity for me is always the key. Structurally, as disciplined as we were last week and reducing their opportunities against. And we've worked this week, how can we be a little bit more productive going forward? How can we get our wide attacking players into more promising situations more often? So we've done a little bit of work on that, as well as getting back to our attacking set plays. We were one of the best teams in the league 6 games ago, but we've not scored from an attacking set play since our long throw at Burton, and we want to get back to being a real threat and believing we're going to score from every one of those. So worked on those. So intensity, defensive discipline and our structure that we saw last week, and a little bit more creativity.
I think those areas he's talking about, looking at attacking set plays, are areas that need prioritising?
You look at football now, set pieces is massive. You see all the top teams in the world doing long throws, which was probably frowned upon about 10 years ago, which is just bizarre in a sense. But yeah, you're right, set pieces are massive. But I think any game of football, if you're up for it and you show intensity and aggression in the right spirit, in the right way, you're going to win games, you're going to win. And you've got to use the crowd to your advantage. And Argyle got a massive advantage in the sense if they can get the crowd up. Yeah. The atmosphere in here is pretty it's hard to beat.
How much does the crowd, when you think back to your playing days, how much of an influence does that have on you as a player? Like, are you really able to channel that and take that in?
Yeah, it gives you extra 10-15%. It really does. Especially if you watch a football match, even things like a good tackle gets a massive applause from the crowd. So it's not like it's the simple things done with real passion fans love. So that's what you want to see. And I think, if Argyle, and that's what he obviously wants. He wants that intensity, but then he wants that discipline as well. So it's that balance of everything you've got to get right. And and that's why managers probably get frustrated, because it's quite simple and when you talk about it, but in reality, trying to actually get it to happen is more difficult.
Yeah. I suppose if we see that delivered, then we should be in for an exciting game this afternoon, based on how the two teams are lining up.
I think that the sort of message you'd think the manager would be given goes, look, these home fans haven't seen you in ages. Give them something to sort of cheer about. Give them put some tackles in, some aggression, some forward running, play on the front foot, that type of stuff, and get the crowd going. And yeah, that's how I see it really. And maybe catch Northampton cold. They've made a long journey down, and get after them a little bit, make it difficult. So I'm sure that's probably what we'll see.
Hope so. Well, as Charlie mentioned, Kevin Nolan is the Northampton boss, and he's been speaking this week about how he feels Argyle are in a false position.
Yeah. What do you make of Plymouth?
Yeah, obviously we get the teams when they start bouncing back and getting players back and have wins and that, so it's going to be a tough one. What we've got to do is we've got to go and match them, because they're going to be, they've gone to a Port Vale, got a real good win, and an important win to get them off the foot of the table. Look, they should be, with the resources and the financial backing what they have, they should be, and I expect them to be, in the top half of the league coming into the end of the season and pushing for playoffs. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
I suppose it's almost a bit of a unique one this Saturday. You're going to a team who've come off the back of a win, but not the season they would have wanted so far, but away from home at a club that have been in the Championship for the last couple of years and expect to be right up there. Yeah,
exactly that. And look, I probably haven't given my lads more credit. Well, I should have given my lads probably more credit than what I have really, but it's just because I expect so much from them and what we built in the squad. We know where we are. We know the financial resources, what we have to, we're limited to, and everything else, and we have no problems with that. And people, and that's why sometimes I do get a bit peeved when people talk about systems and play and how we play and everything else, because they have much better budgets and financial budgets and being able to do a lot of things what we can't do and where we've got to do it. But you can't take away from what we're trying to achieve here, and that goes from the top, to where I am and all the way, and what we're trying to do, and together trying to stick together to make sure that we establish our club into the League One division, and then start becoming not only effective in there, but start building it to look to get into playoffs at times, to look to try and dream, if you like. But what we are doing at the moment, we're doing a fantastic job.
A lot of praise for Argyle there in the beginning, but also a lot of talk about budgets and I guess comparing Northampton Town against us, where he envisions we could be top half of the league. Yeah. Bit of a distraction. Yeah, puts
a bit of pressure. Yeah. But I think we know Argyle have probably a decent budget in this division, and we'll probably spend again in the Christmas window, January window, and we'll so yeah, there is that expectation. But they've actually spent a bit of money as well. They've had a really high turnover of players at the start of the season. I think I read ridiculous, like 19, 20 players that had turnover of staff. So I'm not saying they've signed all those players for transfer fees, whatever, but yeah, they're not going to have the budget that Argyle have. And but you hear Tom Cleverly talk about how well coached they were, and the sense of they've played different formations. Yeah. And I guess now when the teams haven't changed, we maybe see a bit of consistency. They know how they did play against Cardiff, and they were unlucky against Cardiff, to be honest. They got back in the game 1-8, and there was like an own goal by Wheatley from a corner. Yeah. So it was a bit of a strange goal in a sense, and that sort of took the game away from them a wee bit. But yeah, they'll probably be difficult today. But I think Argyle on the front foot, momentum from last week, and that bit of aggression from Argyle, I think Argyle should come out victors, really.
Yeah, well, that's what we want to see. Hopefully that's the recipe that Home Park will be able to provide. We've spoken about it in previous seasons being a bit of a fortress, and I think that is what's really crucial today. We see the fans behind the players, and the players have that renewed spirit to come out and deliver.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, any game of football, it's about winning your individual battles and showing how much you want to win. And I think if players do that, then more likely than not, you'll win the game.
Yeah, well, not very long until kick-off now, just under 10 minutes, and we are almost ready to get going. So now is probably the best time to go and grab your match passes if you haven't already. As we said at the top of Matchday Live, audio and international video passes over on the website, pafc.co.uk. Do stay tuned and interact with us as well throughout the course of the programme. Brian and I will be back at half-time and at full-time to go through everything. You can use the hashtag PAFC or at us at Argyle. We've got to say hello to the Argyle USA crew who have already been in touch this afternoon watching over in the morning over there.
Wow.
So good morning, thanks for being with us. It's Charlie Price and Katie Middleton doing your commentary this afternoon, so we'll hand over to them very shortly. But for right now, it is Argyle versus Northampton Town, and it's up next.